What's up, Mortgage Coach community? Dave Savage sitting down with Dennis Snow. I saw Dennis speaking last week in Nashville. He was the keynote speaker at the experience.com event. Good to see you again, Dennis.
Hey, it's great to see you. I had a great time at the conference too. What a wonderful group of people.
Yeah, no, it was a great conference. I think there were over 40 different lenders represented there.
Yeah, we had a good group. Yeah,
they did. And for anyone that's watching this, experience.com has over 40,000 loan officers using their reputation management platform to measure customer satisfaction. So it's a very important company in our industry. Yeah. They picked Dennis as their keynote speaker. Dennis, you said some things that I wanted to make sure we brought to this community. Sure. All of our people are loan officers or leaders of loan officers, and then they're trying to get more business from realtors.
Of course, like we all are in whatever business we're in, trying to get more business. Yeah,
exactly. And first of all, since this is your first time in the community, why don't you tell a little bit, because you've got a 20-year history working at Disney,
right?
And I'd love for people to hear the backstory, and then I've got some questions.
Sure. Yeah, my background is on a break from college, which was a long time ago. I thought it would be pretty cool to go down and work at Disney World for 3 months, for a summer break. And I ended up spending 20 years there, which is if you talk to any of the management, that's a very common story. My first job, I worked on the front lines, working on the rides. I was a teenager. I was an attractions operator. And then I just fell in love with it. I just fell in love with the place and worked my way into management. And then I was with the training function of Disney World. We spun off a division called the Disney Institute, where companies would come down and benchmark best practices with us. And I ran a division of that for many years. And then I went out on my own. And what I do now is I work with companies, and I take those core Disney philosophies and help them apply them to their own industry, their own operation. So that's what I've been doing for the last 23 years now. And it all kind of goes back to that Disney core, though, that I spent 20 years working there.
Well, Disney, I think everyone knows, has done an incredible job of managing experiences, creating wow, creating magic. And so let's unpack this. So loan officers want to get 5-star reviews. Loan officers want to get referrals. And then loan officers are an extension of a realtor's sales experience.
Right.
And they want to do the same thing for the agent. So what are some, Disney principles or things that you would bring to the industry that might be helpful?
Well, I think let's start with this, because I'm sure some of the people watching this are going to say, what's the connection between Disney and what we do as loan officers or leaders of loan? What's the connection? And I think the connection that I think we just need to start with is that both are an emotionally charged experience, for the customers. Disney calls their customers guests, but let's just use customers. People save for a lot. Nobody would ever accuse Disney of being a nonprofit organization. People save for a long time to go there. And when you think about the mortgage experience, the loan experience, when you come to this, this is one of the biggest emotionally charged events in somebody's life, that when they're buying a home. So yeah, there's differences, but there's also similarities, because when you're dealing with that emotionally charged experience, there's a lot of dynamics involved. So I think the first thing that I would say to anybody watching this is that we must realize that what we are really providing is an experience, not just a product. We tend to fall into a product mentality, that we've got this loan product, we've got this theme park product, we've got this ride, and which are important. They're important. But there are so many things surrounding that product, so many things that our customers go through in order to get that product. So the mentality is that's what people are really buying, is that entire experience, because our competitors, regardless of the industry, our competitors can really duplicate the products themselves. Products and services are commodities nowadays, right? I mean, you know that. We know that people just have a lot of choices. Excellent experiences are actually pretty rare. And so that's the competitive differentiator is, regardless if you are an individual contributor or you're a leader, is recognizing what we really need to differentiate ourselves in is that whole package through which people are interacting with our organization and seeing that as the product. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, well, something we talk about a lot in our community is don't sell loan programs and interest rates. Do sell the problems you solve.
Right.
And I think you are taking that to another level. Don't just sell the problems you solve, sell the experience that you create that solves those problems.
Which solves those problems, yeah. And it creates a bond. When you're the company, when you're the organization that solves customer frustrations, you become this beacon of light in the industry, right? Especially when you think about the mortgage world. You think about the financial services in general. It's more confusing now than ever. It's scary. When you're the organization or you're the person that helps somebody navigate this scary, uncomfortable process, again, you become this beacon of light. And so that's what Disney tries to do. They look at beyond the rides, all of the different things, the way you pay, the things that you do while you're waiting in line to keep you engaged. People don't like to wait in line, and so you go to most places when there's a line, you just wait in line. And what Disney tries to do is keep you engaged by having different things to see, different things to hear, interaction that goes on while you're still waiting in line, but they're at least alleviating that frustration, that friction point by doing these things. And so that takes some thought. And one of the things that I do with organizations that I work with is I'll say, in the center of a page, a flip chart page or a whiteboard, just put the product that you provide and then surround it with all the processes that somebody has to go through to get that product. And then look at each of those products and say, or each of those processes and say, how can we make that something special? How can we raise the bar of the experience and all of those many processes surrounding that product that we sell? And so it gets people thinking about possibilities, how, and the cool thing that I find when I do this with clients is many of the things that they come up with don't cost anything. It's just executing in a different way. It's, delivering in a different way. And of course, leaders love that when it doesn't cost anything, when it's just about, differentiating the way you do things. So to me, that's the secret is just thinking that way. And for leaders that are watching, engaging your team in that way so that they're looking at it from that holistic experience.
So let me throw a thought out and maybe we can play off of this. So first of all, I just edited my quote, that I used to say, sell the problems you solve, to sell the experiences that solve problems. Don't sell your programs or the programs and rates you have. Right. Now, with that said, I love the exercise that you laid out. Everyone, just imagine, what are the products, interest rates, first home, and then what are the processes, get those documented. And then for each one of them with your team, how can we make that special? Tell me what you think of this idea, that if every loan officer not only did that with their team around the mortgage they delivered, but they got with their realtor, who they want to go speak with and said, okay, realtor, let's, we just listened to this guy who worked for Disney for 20 years and then for 23 years has been consulting large companies in America on creating customer experience. And then they actually did that with referral partners. What do you think?
I think that's wonderful because the end customer kind of sees it as one operation, right? Even though there's multiple entities involved in the circumstance that you're talking about. I, as the end customer, kind of see it as, okay, you're you're operating as one, and if you can make that a seamless experience between the realtor and the loan officer and all of those moving parts, if that can be as seamless as possible, again, you become that beacon of light, because nothing is well, not nothing, but very few things are more frustrating than segmented experiences. You know what I mean? Where one hand doesn't necessarily know what the other hand is doing, when both of them are critical in the experience. So working together as a team to create that seamless experience is a great idea. One of the things that Disney does, and my guess is a lot of the people watching this don't know this, but many of the organizations that they interact with at Disney, whether it be a hotel, a merchandise shop, a restaurant, they are not Disney owned. They are other entities, and their employees are actually employees of these other entities. But they go through the Disney training. They follow the same Disney expectations, the same values, the same guidelines, all of those things, because the guest should see it as one. The guest should see it as a seamless experience. But oftentimes somebody that you may be interacting with at Disney isn't actually a Disney employee.
So that's super interesting, like Ghirardelli's, like there's Ghirardelli's in Disneyland and SoCal, and they're probably not Disney employees, but they're all under a same theme. So guys, first of all, highly recommend you put a lot of thought, do some homework. What are some other things that you think, like that little tactic, that little exercise you gave, that's
right,
like pure gold for our community? Is there anything else that comes?
There's Gallup did a lot of research around customer expectations, and one of the things that stuck in my mind was that the highest level of service that you can provide to somebody, and this is why I think it has great application in your world, is advice. When so the hierarchy goes accuracy first, knowing what you're doing it right, doing what you said you were going to do, availability, how easy are you to work with, partnership, do I feel that you really care about me as your customer? And then the peak of the pyramid is advice. When you are teaching your customer something that they did not know before, when the customer is learning from you, you are locking in loyalty. That's the highest level of service you can provide. And think about an industry like your viewers are in. It's complicated. It's not something that the layperson like me interacts with every day. If you're teaching me, whether it's providing me, advice on a better product for my circumstance, whether it's advice on how to navigate something, whatever it may be, you're locking in loyalty. And, again, and I would say in your world, there are many opportunities to do that. And sometimes we forget about that. Sometimes we think that people know the longer we do, we think people know what we know. And I always say, we don't. So if you're the company that's teaching me, educating me, whether it's through our interaction, your website, some materials you send me, you're building a loyal relationship.
So Dennis, you probably don't know this because you haven't learned everything about Mortgage Coach, but I mean, that is
on your website. I did learn some. Yeah.
Like we sell advice and
Yeah.
training loan officers to go beyond that. Here's your price.
Yep.
And we actually have a quote that, advice always beats price, so that get a loan officer to deliver more than just a transactional experience. So
right on.
So first of all, walk through that pyramid one more time. I want to just
sure.
That for the audience one more time.
Sure. So think about a pyramid. First of all, think about a pyramid and 4 levels within that pyramid. So you've got accuracy at the base. Okay. If you get that wrong, nothing else counts. If you're giving me advice that's incorrect, it doesn't count, right? So advice is the foundation of the pyramid. Once that's in place, then the next level up is availability. So that's really how easy are you to work with. You know, if I need to get a hold of somebody, if I have a question, if I have an issue, if I have a problem, can I get to a resource pretty quickly and easily that's going to help me get through that? Once that's in place, then the next level up is partnership. Is it a personalized experience? Do I feel that you care, that you see me as an individual, you know, rather than one more customer that you're dealing with that day? And then the peak of the pyramid, the top of the pyramid is advice. You know, that if I'm learning from you, you're really locking in the loyalty. So the way I always talk about this is that the first two, the accuracy and availability, those are dissatisfiers. You've got to get those right, you know, just to stay in business. You know, those are my fundamental expectations, accuracy and availability. You've got to get those right. The top two, the partnership and the advice, those are your opportunities to differentiate yourself, you know, that make you different than the other options that I have out there. So, but the idea is, you know, if we cover all of those four levels, we're delivering outstanding service, you know, and consequently, we're likely building long-term referable relationships with our customers.
Gosh, man, I can't wait to go a little deeper with this. I see Sosi Vela is watching. What's up, Sosi? If you
Can I interrupt real quick?
Yeah.
One of the things that was on your website that really jumped out to me, and it kind of captures the whole thing. I even wrote it down. This statement, I don't know if this is your mission statement, but it was on the website and it just jumped out at me. It says that you help lenders empower homeowners to make smarter loan decisions, which goes to that advice thing. And this to me was key, making the dream of home ownership possible to all. That's a very powerful statement. So at Disney, our statement was, we create happiness. That was like your to making the dream of home ownership possible to all.
Wow.
When you operate, when people understand that's really what we're doing, we happen to do it through rides and shows, but our purpose is to make people happy. That's really what our purpose is. You go at your job with a very different mindset, right? Versus I load people on rides. That's a very different mindset. Or I provide, you know, I help lenders, you know, but when you're really talking about we're making the dream of homeownership possible for all, and we do it by empowering homeowners to make smarter loan decisions, that's a whole different ball game at that point. And so one of the things, oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead. You were going to say.
So one of the things I always encourage clients to do is think of the bigger purpose of what they're doing. And for the leaders out there to consistently reinforce that bigger purpose with their people.
So give me your feedback on this. So our vision is all borrowers can achieve financial freedom. You know, people don't get loans because they want loans. They get loans because they want homes. Mm-hmm. And the true American dream is owning a home and being financially free. So we really have this belief that, well, we know it. We know that 99% of Americans build their wealth through their home. Mm-hmm. And we also know that 99% of Americans are 95% of all the debt in America. So how they do a loan is how they achieve financial freedom. So first of all borrowers can achieve financial freedom. And then how we do it is we empower lenders to provide the best personalized loan strategies for borrowers for life. Like how can we just, for the life of a consumer, make sure that they're always making the right loan?
I think that's,
I mean, is that compelling? Would you?
It is compelling. I think it is compelling because it is that dream of home ownership. If you asked people to list their lifetime objectives, you know, one of them likely somewhere on the list is going to be financial freedom, right? I mean, that's somewhere on their wish list of life is financial freedom. So yeah, I think that you're right on. That just happened to jump out to me on your website. That statement as I read it, I thought, wow, that's really cool. Because I could relate to that. You know, I could. The point with this purpose statement is not to have something cute or fluffy. It's what gets me up in the morning. So when I was working at Disney, that idea of creating happiness, I knew that was, whether I was loading people on the rides or whatever I was doing, my job was, and I tell you, that can get boring. It can get tedious. It's 105 degrees. People sometimes are in a bad mood. They're screaming kids. Doesn't matter. The job is to make a connection with people and create happiness. And so, again, what I always say to leaders is you've got to be relentless in keeping that message in front of people through stories and examples and celebrations and, all of those things that we have at our fingertips, to use those tools strategically to reinforce what our business is really all about.
You've given, I'm going to write an article on this. You've given, an exercise that you could do as your team, an exercise you could do with your partners, your realtors.
Yeah.
Given a paradigm and a pyramid for everybody to go back and think of, do I have accuracy and availability handled? And then how am I differentiating through advice and relationship?
In partnership. Yeah. What would demonstrate partnership to me, to a customer or a client? And then what are the types of advice that I could give them that help them navigate this maze? And making sure you have all those bases covered. That's the other thing, is making sure that you have all those bases covered.
So guys, I would love to see any information that you guys have put online. Comment in our group, give this a like if you got value from it. How can people follow you and reach out to you? What's your contact information?
Yeah, the way to
hire you to speak.
Yeah, the best way to reach me is at Dennis, DENNIS, at snowassociates.com. So Dennis at snowassociates.com. And my website is www, and we always say that, but it's www.snowassociates.com. And we've got resources on there, videos on there, things that they can download. There's a white paper that people can download. We try to use that as the hub. But if they want to get directly to me, the best way is Dennis at snowassociates.com. And I would love to any of the organizations that are watching to come and speak at a conference, whether virtually or in person. I'd love to do that. It's a topic I have a lot of passion for.
Yeah, no, I could tell, and I would love to interview you again. If any mortgage coach members, whether you're a C-suite leader or a loan officer, you take some of this advice and you put it into practice. Hopefully Dennis will become a regular in our community, and we can
be honored.
We could get into the details, like, oh, that's a good strategy.
Yeah,
that strategy needs some work. So this is a wrap, guys. Take care. Give this a like. Share it with your friends. And Dennis, it was wonderful talking to you again. I'm glad that we met.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure.